And welcome back. I've been away for a little while now. Took a little break from actually pen testing or hacking, and decided to create something for myself. Call it Bagaholdin. And that's this on screen now. It's found on GitHub. Search for Bagaholdin. You should find it. I'd suggest downloading the repository. It's a little bit more up to date than the actual released binary. So once you've followed all the instructions, installed it, and set it up and it's running, you'll get this interface. What it's going to ask for here is actually your Kali username and your password. Not a password for Bagaholdin, but a password for your system. It's going to need to run some root commands as we go along, so those need to be entered. And if you get a message at any point saying, "Oh, we can't run that root command," just log out and log back in again. It refreshes your root password. Right, so one of the first things you'll see is your network interfaces. Useful information, particularly when it comes to grabbing handshakes as well. Sometimes you'll have more than one wireless interface. I've got a USB one attached and that's it. So it's just showing up as WLAN 0 here. If you've got more, you'll be able to sort of pick which one you're going to put into monitor mode to start grabbing handshakes. Strongly suggest it's not the one that's shown here if you've got multiple Wi-Fi adapters. You then enable monitor mode. You've got a choice of which bands you want to scan. And when you run that, you'll get a long list, hopefully, of Wi-Fi access points around you. And you can then select them and press capture, and away it goes and tries to grab those handshakes for you. There is a display that will show you across to the right when you've got your list of access points, how many clients are attached to it. So with a sensible selection. And then this should just grab your handshake. I'm not showing it sort of running. It does work, simply because the only legitimate handshake I grab with my own, and then as we follow it through, you'll start getting some of my more confidential details like passwords, what my SSID is for my Wi-Fi and so on. So I'm not going to run that here. It does work, trust me. So once you've got your handshake, or a handshake you captured before, it'll show up in a list down here. Bagaholdin will check, make sure it's actually got a handshake inside your capture, and then convert it into .22000 format, so that we can use hashcash against it. Your handshakes are stored in your temp file, or folder, should I say. So they'll start showing up here, and you'll be able to pick individual ones. If you've got multiple ones, or just one, it'll automatically fill in here. The options you've got: dictionary, standard, masks of one description or another, with a drop down, start picking masks for a whole assortment of different reasons. Yeah, probably alongside the SSID you're trying to find the password for. Workload options, standard for hashcat. If you've got a GPU, it should auto-select, and I believe it does. Other than that, it'll default to sort of CPU cracking. And just press start cracking, and away it goes. And you wait and you come back. I did try running this with GPU and it was dictionary. Yeah, it must have been actually with RockU. It took 59 seconds to run through all of RockU, which is nice. So once you've got that handshake, ideally you cracked it, what will happen when you refresh, it will appear as a project. Once I click on that, it considers your project as effectively your network. When you create a new project, you can call it whatever you want, spell it right as well. So that might be your network address. If we want to actually find everything that's on there, we'll put our IP range inside a format, this /24. Then we create it. It scans all the way through all the ranges of possible IP addresses and comes back with what's on your network. Just for these purposes here, I've already got a Metasploitable machine running on my network. For some reason, it's registering as a TV. I don't know why, but I do know this is Metasploitable. So, first thing I'm going to do, because I've got little or no information, I'm going to vulnerability scan. This can take a while. I'll tell you it's running. You see a bit of animation there, tell it it's scanning, and then you wait. And we're back. That took around about 6 minutes, but it's not surprising. A lot of open ports. And if you look at the actual nmap scan, yeah, a lot of stuff. It wasn't just scanning for open ports, it was checking versions of services running, vulnerabilities, CVEs, and it goes on. So if I go into enumeration, it will show me all those ports and scroll down, there's plenty of them. CVE analysis. This is worth letting run. If you stop it part of the way through, it just stops. And then you have to press reanalyze and run through every single one again. This is fetching the details from the vulnerability scan that nmap produced and running off and checking those CVEs against the National Vulnerability Database. Then it pulls those results back, checks for Metasploit modules, GitHub repositories for those CVs, looks in the GitHub repositories for what are the most recent exploits available, and then also rates them, takes the highest rated GitHub repositories and produces the results here for you. So I'll let this one run. It will take a while. You can already tell from where the bar is here. And if I scroll down, how many CVEs it's found for this Metasploitable machine. We'll leave that alone, let it run, and come back. It's going to take a little while. Now that took a long time. Not surprising when you see how many CVEs there are. I won't necessarily scroll up and down, but actually I will. So I'll find something. What it says. There we go. There's one CVE, only GitHub exploit. Click on that. Takes you to the page. You can read all what you need to read. But I would usually go into enumeration first. See what we've got going on here. 21, 22. Lovely. Yeah. So what I am going to do is go into brute force. I can fill the IP in here, but it will automatically fill it in for you. And then I can pick whichever service I want. Now, SSH only really logs one thread at a time. You get loads of errors, and even if you have guessed the password correctly, it can it can still pop as error and no passwords found. So I'm going to go for FTP. Use word list for both username and password. Here you can see I've got all the seclist usernames available. But I do have a dictionary that's already a bit loaded in my favour. Same happens with the password list too. Can put custom paths, those, a single attempt. For now, I'm going to run an attack, a brute force attack against FTP. See what it says. And this should be quite quick, really. It should be. I just realised what I haven't done. Let's give it some more threads to run the attack with. FTP doesn't usually mind an increased number of threads. There you go. So for FTP, login and password, both NSF admin. Copy of that. So go back here into enumeration. I'm not going to go for FTP. I'm going to go for SSH. SSH login. And I'll run that. Should see some activity here in the NSF console. There's some pre-filled parts to it, remote hosts, adding things to databases and so on. Still got to set a couple of variables, username, password, and then run the exploit properly. And there you go, I've got a shell. Let's click on shells here. Yep, registers it, interact with it, and go to post exploitation. And get a few more details, automatically kind of run with a click of a button. And say I'm not exploitable 2.6. I'm MSF admin. You can see the groups I belong to. Perhaps interesting is woohoo. Interfaces it's got. There we are. We can do a lot of things, get some networks up. This is probably one of the more useful. Don't really worry too much. It's all got a screen and it's a jumbled mess. Because when we go to loot for this host, we've got some info recorded. Back in shells, you see I've got the option to upgrade to an interpretive shell. This takes a little bit of time to run, a few extra seconds. Just got to wait for it to report back that it started an interpretive shell in session 2. Give it a moment, and we should get some response on the screen. It says. Not usually this slow, I have to be honest. There we go. Interpreter session 2 opened and they're listed there. This can take a little bit of time to auto refresh, so let's just do that anyway. And there we go, session 2 interpreter. This gets ghosted out because of interpreter built on top of this. I'm gonna get rid of this. You encounter some problems with interpreter later on. It's probably better to be able to restart that. So we'll interact with interpreter shell. Go to post exploitation, and we've got a bunch more. Again, there's some updating, refinements, debugging to be done here. But we'll show you if you go down, there's some suggested post exploitation modules for you to run as well. These come from Metasploit. Normally, this will auto detect what shell you're interacting with. Again, that needs fixing. And setting the sudo password here, I'm going to get rid of that. It never worked properly, is the best way I can put it. Logging in, logging out, and using your password, your system password for any root commands is perhaps the way to go. So I've already got it covered loot. I haven't mentioned search exploit, which again, you can see it's checking for your own map results from your vulnerability scan and then pull some things together. I think I've got a lot of network activity at the moment. Just possibly why some things are running slowly. I'm running this version of Kali as a Proxmox VM. Again, that could slow things down occasionally, but not usually this slow. Again, some more results and things you can look up. Shells are covered, post-exploitation covered, reporting. Well, put your report together. Which TV? It's actually Metasploit. You see, I told you there were a lot of CVEs. 335, 24 of them critical. Doesn't look good for this machine, does it? And you can scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, 235 CVEs later. You keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And eventually, when you get past the CVEs, hopefully, you can see some other information we've grabbed. Close that down for now and have a look at yourself. Reporting just done, loot. You can also leave some stuff yourself. The MSBN payload, I hope it's fairly obvious if you've been using Kali at all, depending on what machine you're aiming for. You alter a few of these and you can just download the payload, or you can upload it straight to the host. And what you have also got, you saw at the start as well, password attacks. So Wi-Fi, handshakes, hashcat, brute force we've already